Yeah, we're always concerned at the beginning of the season. You have folks who don't have gear with them yet. They haven't supplied up for the winter, and so the first serious cold snap can be particularly threatening.
Well, that is what we're dealing with right now. The temperature is dropping tonight into the dangerous zone for those living outside. Now, in response, Multnomah County opened emergency shelters for a second night in a row tonight. Our Pat Doris is at one of them. Pat.
Well, actually, this is the Bud Clark Commons. It's a transitional shelter for people coming off the streets. But on nights like this, it's also that emergency shelter, which is good because people out here are starting to feel the cold.
It's okay.
Meet Brandon, a veteran of cold nights on Portland streets. He said he's lived outside the past 8 years. So are you in a tent at night?
Yes, sir.
How'd you stay warm last night?
Blankets, as many blankets as we can get.
Multnomah County taxpayers are funding nearly 2,000 beds for the homeless during weather like this. Most are open year-round, and another 350 opened last night because of the sharp drop in temperature. The director of the Joint Office of Homeless Services said everyone can help when it gets this cold.
We're always looking for donations of blankets and sleeping bags and tarps and hats and gloves and socks. The outreach teams, they depend on those kinds of donations so that when they encounter somebody outside, they've got that in their trunk. They can hand it out to somebody who's in need.
Which probably makes you wonder, well, where can I take stuff? You can go check it out at 211info.org to get a list of shelters near you where you could drop off supplies. If you're worried about a homeless person near you, you can dial 211 and talk to someone there about your concerns. They're able to send outreach teams to check people out. Back to you.
Pat, thank you. Well, pop-up picnics showed up in parks around Portland today, and they were part of a protest. Community groups are upset about a new ordinance that would require them to get permits to serve people who need a meal. They've been serving an evening meal in Directors Park since 2013. Today, it was an afternoon meal of soup and sandwiches. A short distance away in the North Park blocks, another pop-up picnic. Well, now the city plans to require permits to serve meals, and there would just be a limit of 1 permit a week at any given park. Community groups filed a lawsuit to try and block those new rules. People who take advantage of the meals say that they are needed.
A lot of people, like I said, depend on it. You know, it's just that even though it's just that little bit of food or a little coffee, some soup, it helps. You know.
The city says the intent of the new ordinance is to establish coordination and keep a process in place to support these services and these events. New numbers show how much the city of Salem is spending on issues related to homelessness. According to a city report, it's more than $5 million a year. 90% of that is spent by police. This week, Salem City Council voted to ban homeless camping on sidewalks. The ordinance will go into effect next month. Well, an Albany family is trying to figure out if their daughter's death is linked to a virus outbreak in the Albany School District. McKinley Magnum died just days before her second birthday last month. Doctors told her parents she contracted a virus that caused her intestines to twist and burst. The Magnums live right across the street from Periwinkle Elementary. That was the first school closed after dozens of children got norovirus. Since then, the district has shut down every school as a precaution. Public health officials say they only send a warning about norovirus when there's an outbreak. McKinley's parents, though, want others to be aware.
I want us to be a cautionary tale. Nothing to put people down or anything of that sort. Because I know it's not the case, but still, I want it just to be a warning. And not sure. It's kind of something I believe she would want.
The family is still waiting for a final report on McKinley's exact cause of death. The Washington man who led the charge to cap car tabs at $30 is not happy with the state's attorney general. Tim Eyman slammed Bob Ferguson after a judge put Initiative 976 on hold. Eyman says Ferguson's defense in the courtroom was rife with errors and omissions. Now, this is part of a letter he sent yesterday. Eyman says, quote, "You did not just shaft Tim Eyman with your skullduggery. You undermined voters' faith in government and shattered their belief that their votes count." Well, on Wednesday, a King County judge put $30 car tabs on hold. The judge said the initiative's description was misleading. Ferguson does plan to file an emergency appeal to the state Supreme Court. In-N-Out Burger is expected to open its new Kaiser location next month. We know traffic will be crazy, and that's why Kaiser city officials are coming up with a game plan. According to the Statesman Journal, Volcano Stadium parking lot could handle the overflow parking. The ideal plan would have flaggers guide drivers from Volcano Stadium to the drive-through lane. In-N-Out needs to reach an agreement with the Volcanoes and the Target store nearby. City Council will review the plan on Monday. The holiday shopping season is officially underway with more than 165 million Americans expected to shop this weekend. Our Kristen Severance talked to people who wasted no time getting everything on their list.
Black Friday has really turned into a weekend of shopping, with many deals starting on Thanksgiving and lasting until Cyber Monday. According to data from Retail Me Not, 85% of consumers plan to shop this weekend. That's compared to 78% last year. We talked to dozens of families shopping at Bridgeport Village this year. Many say it's just tradition to head out the day after Thanksgiving and buy gifts for themselves or others. And the extra short shopping season has some shoppers really feeling the rush. So last year, shoppers had 32 days between holidays. This year, there are 26 days.
I ran into a couple gals this morning and I said, "What are you doing?" They've been making their way to all different shopping centers, and Bridgeport is part of their tradition now in their 5th year.
Tradition, I feel like, and to try and get the best deals.
We are now heading home, gonna refuel and maybe head out again. Yeah, make it an all-day thing.
If you're still planning to shop today or over the weekend, experts at NerdWallet said to wait on a few items. So do not buy toys, bedding, or winter clothes if you're really looking for a deal. The best deals will be on appliances and electronics. Ashley?
Kristen, thank you. Well, shoppers were up early for the annual sock sale at Fred Meyer's. Fred Meyer's expects to sell more than 1 million pairs of socks this year, which is up from last year. Morgan Romero takes us to the top-selling sock store, which is in Oregon City.
'Tis the season.
Socks.
For sock sales?
The sock store. The only time to buy socks is today.
For nearly 4 decades, Oregonians have wiped the sleep from their eyes and embraced the cold. Some all night long.
Since about 9 last night.
Most dark and early.
5:16.
We got here about 5:30, 6, yeah.
A little too early for some. All so they can rush to the sea of socks at their neighborhood Fred Meyer.
I really think that Fred Meyer started Black Friday. Yeah, you always got to go to Fred Meyer to get socks, of course. Like, everybody knows that.
People lined up for hours before this Fred Meyer in Oregon City opened this morning on Black Friday, and they came for nothing else but socks. People are even throwing socks. It's such a big deal. Half off socks at all Fred Meyer stores. It's a huge deal in the Portland metro area. But of course, people came out here for other things as well. This, though, is the #1 store in the entire company for sock sales.
Is it worth it? Since her kids were little,
27 years now.
Billy Schilling has braved the crowds to stock up.
It's always just for the kids' Christmas stockings. So sometimes the cart is full depending on how many socks they need.
Ronna Tolman can say the same.
And it is dedication.
For more than 20 years, she's made this Fred Meyer a staple of her Black Friday stops.
I actually come a couple days before and kind of scan it out and see what I want to do. And it's great. We love it. We love the people. Fred Meyer's is very congenial with the treats and the donuts and cider and stuff like that. So
My grandma used to come with a black garbage sack and fill it up.
Vanessa Eels and Claire Keith awake to the awaited gifts each Christmas. This year, though, they wanted to see for themselves what all the hype was about.
And then, socks were half off, so... Yeah, you do this every year?
I do not do this every year.
I feel like my mom does.
Yeah, my mom is like,
And
gotta
this
get all the
year, yeah.
socks. And I'm like, fun.
Would you get them for you for Christmas?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah,
All
these
the
are
time.
100% for Christmas.
Yes.
But my mom's not here, so I just bought them for myself.
Amazing how socks bring thousands of Oregonians to the doors of Fred Meyer stores.
Socks, TVs, Instapots. You can see the mountain of Instapots behind you, but mainly for socks. We've really created a culture out here. The people of Oregon City really love their socks.
Who doesn't? In Oregon City, Morgan Romero, KGW News.
And that is a fun tradition for sure.